And now it's time for my review for Wrath of Man. Now, I'm a big fan of Guy Ritchie, so going into this film, I kind of knew this wasn't going to be the usual film that we expect from him now. The whip-smart dialogue, the fancy jump cuts, it's nothing to do with Snatch or Lock, Stock and Two Smoking Barrels. I love those films, but this is far removed from all of that. And yes, it's great to see Guy reuniting with his leading man, Jason Statham, the Stath, after about 20 years, I think it is. And it's an interesting feature film. I will say Mr. Statham is not the best thing about the movie. Yes, he is the star of the film. And if you'd seen the trailers before, it kind of gives away why his character of Patrick, Mace or H, depending on what he wants to be known on that day, it kind of ties with the fact that he is that way set because of what happens. Unfortunately, if you watch the trailers for this film, the marketing company, it seems, did not know how to promote this movie because it kind of gives away a few key plot details. I will say that when the ball gets rolling, it's how can I say? It's not the way that it goes. I mean, to me, this kind of reminds me of Den of Thieves, Heat, any of those kind of heist movies. And basically the plot is Jason Statham joins this armored truck delivery cash service called Fortico, and it seems to have a very bad luck of being robbed at certain points in Los Angeles, and no one can quite figure out why this is all happening. But as you saw from the trailer, Mr. Statham, depending on what character he is, just kind of wastes everybody, no fear. So he's a man with the mysteries, a mystery man. We don't really know too much about his past. We kind of, through timelines in the movie, we can piece together what his plan of revenge is. Something happened, really bad happens to him, really messes up his mind, and he's just on his, on his way just to infiltrate and just break down a network that did something very bad against a member of his family. And Jason Statham here is he's still like a 50 plus guy that will just break your neck inside out. He does have that. I will say that Jason's martial arts skill or physical prowess isn't really put to use in the way that you think it would be. So it seems like Guy Ritchie had sat down with Jason and said, look, whatever we've done before, mate, what have you done in your action movies, like Crank, which I happen to love, by the way, we're not bringing those into this particular film. We're going to keep it dead set serious. So I will say the supporting cast are fantastic as well. You got Eddie Marsan, who again delivers a faultless American accent. Then you got Josh Hartnett, still a good-looking dude, plays a real douche, or you think he is. When we first meet him, he's quite an intimidating presence. Obviously, Laz Alonso from The Boys, he's good. Jeffrey Donovan, you know him as Michael Weston from Burn Notice. Why have I got Martin in my head? I have no idea. But I've got to say the real standout in this movie, well, there's actually two real standouts. There's an actor called Daryl De Silva. Now, I don't know where I've seen him before, but this guy has the sexiest mane of hair and beard I've ever seen. This silver fox is absolutely rocking it on the big screen. He plays a character called Mike. Every time he's on the screen, he's just such a charismatic presence. I can't explain it. He really is. Andy Garcia just popping in and popping out when he needs to because of the role that he plays. But for me, the real outstanding member of this cast is Scott Eastwood. Yep, Clint's son. He's just Clint Eastwood 2.0. He really is. Just has the faster delivery. He's still got his dad's glinty eyes. But if he's not auditioning to be Wolverine in the MCU, I tell you what, he's the best candidate you can choose. Hey, ask me who I think will be the next successor to Hugh Jackman as Wolverine. It's Scott Eastwood, mark my words. The guy has it all. I mean, he's already got the mutton chops in the film anyway, and he just has a very steely-eyed, cold, unnerving presence about him. I mean, in this film, he really does elevate his role from what you think he normally would play, and he's terrific. He really is. He is kind of the overall steam sealer. Holt McAnally from Mindhunters, he's also very good in this movie. Holt is one of these actors. He gets cast in the film, then he's only in it for like 5 or 10 minutes because the writers decided not to give him much of a script. But in this particular film, he gets a chance to really show facets to his character that you've never seen before. Going back to Mr. De Silva, I mean, I almost dropped my glass of water because he's almost a dead ringer for Jeffrey Dean Morgan from Supernatural and The Walking Dead. So just for a minute I had to kind of compose myself and just figure out what the hell's going on. Well, either that or this heat wave we've got in London at the moment is really playing tricks in my mind. Now, did I enjoy this film? Yes, I did. It does start off as a normal routine kind of movie. Like I said before, it's got the vibes of Heat and Den of Thieves. But then it takes a totally different direction. It's got a 3-act arc structure, so it's black and white captions appear, and the actual captions relate to what's going to happen in that scene. The third act is, I wouldn't say it's incredible, but it's very, very well staged. It's wow, it's kind of like really brutal and hard hitting, and the ending of the movie is predictable. That's the thing that just let me down about it. It's like, if this was a Michael Mann film, he would not have gone for this particular decision at the end. We know the film has to run its course. We know there's a certain outcome that has to be met for the audience and for the writers and for the film studio backing this film, obviously. That all has to be said and done and written in sand and stone. And that's kind of like, yeah, all right, I kind of saw this one coming. It would have been nice if they took it in a different route, made it a bit more original. I don't know if this film was even going for originality. What it does get right, the characters are pretty good. There are 1 or 2 females in the movie that have some minimal screen time, and in one particular case, the wife of Jason Statham, she's pretty good, but we don't see much more of her afterwards. We could have done a bit more with a bit of backstory to Statham's character's life as a family man. We saw a good glimpse of it, and I would like to have had a bit more of that as well, just to give him a little bit of nuance. But again, tying into the movie, the title of the movie, we understand why he is the Wrath of Man. Also, this is based on a French film, which I didn't know. Never seen it, so I might be curious to go and see that particular movie and see what kind of changes they've made to this. So it's quite interesting. Again, I don't know how well this film is going to perform once it's got a complete release date in the UK. As far as I know, it's not out here yet. So it should do fairly well at the box office. I know it's had a kind of a limited run in the US, and it's done A-okay, not bad, but certainly not going to be raking in the bundles of money that, say, Kong vs. Godzilla or Mortal Kombat has scored. So Wrath of Man, that's all I've got to say. It's not a bad film, not a terrible film. I've seen some ratings where they've given it more than it's required. But again, Scott Eastwood, future superstar, he's terrific in this film. If I have to watch this movie again, it's for him. The music by Chris Benstead is really, really good. Kind of like an old school Hans Zimmer kind of feel to it. It's a pretty good music score. I actually really enjoyed that. It's one of the things that kind of struck me from the opening titles. Again, the opening titles are pretty artistically done. It's almost like a Bond movie opening sequence in some areas, and then it kind of goes into something else. So yeah, do check out Wrath of Man if you haven't got anything better to do, and let me know in the comments below what you thought of it when you saw it. So on that note, I'm off to bed because it is 12:34 a.m. while I'm recording this, yep, believe it or not, and I will catch you on my next video. And before I sign off, I was expecting the Spider-Man No Way Home trailer to drop yesterday. It didn't, so I think it might be out tomorrow or Friday. I mean, if I really push my luck, probably Saturday.